Okay, yes, new week. I'm gonna do a bit more of a systematic approach and start out on the higher time frame, work my way down. So as you can see, we're in this large bullish daily structure. We've been mapping this out for a couple of weeks now. When we went beneath the zero point 0.5, we were very much looking with interest at areas of demand because we are in discount prices. We were expecting a move up once we saw this. We got that 4 hour high there, broke the low, and then we closed above. So that was a breaker structure. That was the sign. These were the lows here, 4137. That was the sign there that the swing pullback was beginning. And since then, it's just been up and up and up, as you can see. Now, looking at the 4 hour, it's pretty clear to see that there's it's a very aggressive move. Like, see this area of supply flipped, taken out, area of supply, flipped, taken out, area of supply, flipped, taken out. And now that could be just this 4 hour bearish swing structure. It could just be that this is the pullback and then we're eventually going to make that next move down. But, when we look at this perspective, it's quite clear to see that we made a very nice bounce out of that region, and the 4 hour is very bullish. Um, the daily is bullish, the 4 hour looks extra bullish kind of thing. Um, you know, if you look at just the 4 hour, yes, this is obviously bearish territory. You are expecting that pullback, and we potentially have some signs that that could be occurring. You are in this large supply zone here. You're in very high premium prices when you look at the Fibonacci's. Obviously, from here to here, you're in that 786 sort of region. I think you're even above that now. And additionally, you have got a very overbought RSI, which is diverging from price. So at this point, even though this high is lower than this high, the RSI is higher. So you've got divergence in price there. So there is a case that we could be seeing a pullback, and there is very nice areas to get, potentially see reactions from along the way. My first being this one here, because you flipped that area of supply. That was a decent area of supply right there. And you've got this area of demand right here. So if price did pull back into that region, you'd be looking at some decent opportunities for a long there. But you've also got to consider this has just been one straight move up pretty much. So a pullback will come eventually. Or it may not. It may just keep going. Potentially got some really nice liquidity above this lower high, because that is a significant high. It did something pretty significant by breaking this structure here. So there's potential we do just go up to the 444 T region. We just go up to that region and potentially take some liquidity there. But yeah, I think there's a decent case to be looking for shorts. But it's very aggressive. There isn't any news today, which is good. So we may actually, we may get some decent opportunities of a pullback. We'll have to see. If you look at the lower time frames right now, this was that flip zone I just mentioned. Not that one. This one. That was that flip zone I just mentioned here. That was also the range we were talking about last week. So as you can see, last week we were talking about this little 15-minute block here. It had a couple of taps in there, and this was also the Asia lows, and it was the UTCs. And I mentioned that if we do break below that, then there's potential that is a good sign that we are going lower. But I'm very much interested in scalps under Asia lows because we are very, bullish right now. And that turned out to be pretty much the low of the London session and the New York session that followed. Unfortunately, I closed out above Asia highs, but that's the way it goes. My bad. But yeah, so today, this is the range I'm looking at. You can see here we've got this little internal breaker structure. So you got that high, that lower high, sorry, that higher low, and then you got the higher high. So that was the last low that took out the previous high. So that was an internal breaker structure. You see that there, and we're now pulling back into premium supply. So I'm very much interested in this zone for a potential short today because there's decent risk to reward. And if we are to continue that move down, then I'd be looking for a first reaction from the previous day equilibrium and the weekly that was clearly flipped. You can see it hit here and it flipped. So there'll be some nice juicy demand in there. I'll have a look at that in a second. And if we do eventually break through there, then you are entering this larger discounted demand area. You've got this 15-minute zone here, you've got this 15-minute zone, but you're inside a larger 4-hour zone that was the initiation point that broke this previous supply. So I hope I haven't lost you there, but effectively what we're looking at today, so is this. So yeah, so ideally we get some sort of move into these regions here. We see a nice little internal breaker structure signifying that that is an area that's going to be held. You know, we have perfectly tapped this 4-hour supply zone here. You can see that that is previously mitigated, I believe. Yeah, it was previously mitigated, so you know it's not the strongest. So there's a potential we do move and break those for liquidity. So this isn't the strongest high, but if we do get the signs that we're breaking structure there, then there's a potential for a good short, you know, because you have had that initial sign there, albeit on a Friday. Yeah, closing on the Friday, so I don't know how much you can read into that, whether that was just positions closing, and whether this bullish intent is just going to carry on. Yeah, I've got Asia lows there as well, so something to be aware of. This is the liquidity I was talking about. You know, take out that wick, hit into this 15-minute zone, potentially as high as the 5-minute zone. Ideally, you're getting better risk to reward there. You could even just throw that in. You know, if you're happy with that risk, could be looking for those lows potentially. Maybe even previous day equilibrium, but you know, you're fighting such a strong trend right now. Maybe not the wisest, but you know, it's not the worst risk to reward trade ever. What else? You know, yeah, you've got Asia lows, potentially a scalp there. Come down to this region, let's have a look at that. Yeah, you've got this 15-minute block here. Where's my tool? That 15-minute block there, like that. Let's go with this. That 15-minute block there, which is obviously going to be a nice area of demand. You know, you've whacked into this week close from previous price action. It's hit rejection, it's taken liquidity, and then it's built up some nice demand, and then it's popped out of there. So if you do come back into this region, you would expect a nice reaction. So this could be a potential move for the day. Like I said, there's no news that I'm aware of that has any high impact, so this is like my ideal scenario today. You know, that kind of thing. I would love that. That is just beautiful range to play with today. But you know, if you don't get that, and it does go further down, let's say it does, we've got this region here that I was just talking about. That'd be really nice. You got the previous day low as well, which was Friday lows. Right there. Oh no, that's Thursday lows. About. That was Friday low, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, I pretty much caught the exact low of the day and it just went off. Closed here. Oh well. But yeah, you know, there's reason to believe that we may be pulling back structure-wise. Again, like I said, there's a fair level of nuance to apply to this, or discretion. You know, that is a Friday close breaker structure. That may be significant. But yeah, if we go higher than that, like I said before, there's the potential to take out. Let me just get rid of all that crap I just made. If we do go higher, you know, we've got obviously this area supply that we were just talking about, previously mitigated. You've also got this area up here, so potentially you could be looking as high as that. Now, if you look at the TPO, is it? You look at the TPO, it also hit right there. We were talking about that last time. You know, we're talking about this large area supply here. You've also got a naked time point control. It's pretty much the exact high along with the 4-hour supply. So those two factors lining up have been previously very good local tops. There's another example. Where was it? That was the other example. And there was another one. Yeah, there. Those also had 4-hour supplies in them. So, that was quite nice if you were watching that. You've got to the downside, something obviously I'll now be aware of is the VWAP close right there. That looks like it is lining up with a 30-minute order block. What's that price? Let's see. 4370. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, 4370. Yeah, so you've got also a nice potential scalp area there that takes out Asia lows. Definitely an area to be watching on your chart. I'm gonna throw that there. What else have we got? That's about it really. If you go higher, you're more than likely looking to this. But if you get into that region, to be honest, I'd more than likely just be looking at the liquidity above there, for a potential swing failure. But yeah, to be honest, if it does go higher, obviously breaks above, you just want to be marking out the internal movements and just potentially grabbing, because this is a little bit of a supply here that broke that structure there. So if it does flip that, you could potentially look for some new structure that forms like this, and you built a nice little demand zone that broke that structure there. Maybe that happens around New York or something like that, and then you come back in, you test it. You could potentially grab a breakout long from that, and you could even be looking as high as these prices up here, like I mentioned. How's it gone? So you could be looking for something like that. Up to those prices there, pretty decent risk to reward. You've also got a potential long scalp, like we just said, in the 4370s around there. So if you get a nice move into that, could potentially take a nice long there. There's a couple of good long opportunities. There's a couple of good short opportunities. It's just a case of letting the market show you which one you want. It's best to be aware of them, of course. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all you need today. Like I said, third time I'll say it, no news today. Thank fuck for that. Last week's news was just crazy. So it should be relatively calm today, or we may even get a decent move to the downside. You've got some PMI stuff for the UK, but fuck the UK. So let's see. Let's see if the bullish trend is just going to keep firing up. We're going to break this high here. We're going to flip that. We're going to flip that lower high. We're going to keep going. There's all the possibility that we do. So eventually there will be a pullback. It's not going to just keep going forever. So eventually there will be a pullback and there will be nice long opportunities so we can play pro trend, which would obviously give us a lot more confidence with our trading. So at the minute, if you are short and short-lived scalps, really just take profits when they're there or secure the trade with a stop loss. And yeah, have a great day. Good luck.